mess on my desk wasn't just paper and pens, it was me. I remember leaning back in my chair late one night, staring at the stacks of sticky notes that had started to curl at the edges, contracts half filled, reminders scribbled in sharp ink. Every corner seemed to whisper something I hadn't done yet. Each sheet carried a weight, and together, they pressed down on me heavier than any client call ever had. One note slid slowly down the pile and floated to the carpet. The sound was soft, almost nothing, but it landed with a thud inside my chest. It was like the clutter was alive, slipping further and further out of control, and I couldn't catch up. The rustle of paper became its own soundtrack, my own hesitation given form. Every time I reached for one task, my eyes caught another, and then another, until my hands froze. My desk wasn't just messy. It was a mirror of the paralysis inside me. That night, I told myself, tomorrow, I'll clear it all. But tomorrow came and went, and the piles stayed. And each time I walked into that office, it was like stepping into the reminder that I had failed before I even began. In those moments, clutter wasn't neutral. It was an enemy that grew in silence. I caught myself thinking, maybe I'll never get on top of this. Maybe this is just who I am. Someone always behind, always drowning in half-finished work. That thought hit harder than the deadlines. The truth? I wasn't just avoiding work. I was avoiding the feeling of not being enough. The pen I tapped against the desk didn't sound like progress. It sounded like judgment. And somewhere in that pile of notes, I felt my own energy scattered into 1,000 fragments. The mess on my desk was the mess in my head. Maybe you felt that too, like your space itself becomes proof of your struggle. The weight of clutter isn't just about appearance, it's the story it tells. In business, my desk looked like my inbox, crowded with overdue reports, pending compliance files, and half-drafted client emails. Each paper carried responsibility, and each responsibility carried the fear of what would happen if I dropped it. At home, the clutter followed me. Bills and unopened letters stacked on the kitchen counter. Toys scattered across the living room. My wife's sigh, as she tried to clear a space on the table, wasn't about the objects. It was about my absence, my energy spent on everything except being present. And culturally, clutter became shameful. I grew up in a family where tidiness equaled discipline, where an orderly space meant an orderly mind. When I looked at my desk, it wasn't just paper. It was proof I wasn't living up to that standard. It was proof, in my head, that I was failing, both inside and out. I used to think, if I just ignore it, maybe it won't matter. But clutter doesn't stay quiet. It grows. And the bigger it grows, the smaller I feel. Do you know that feeling? When you walk into a room, and instead of energy, you feel your shoulders slump. When you tell yourself you'll get to it tomorrow, but tomorrow comes with another pile, another mess, another layer of guilt. Clutter doesn't just take space, it takes courage. It steals the small spark you need to begin. And I wish someone had told me back then, clearing one thing is enough. You don't have to fix it all at once. Because what I told myself instead was the opposite, that unless I could conquer everything, nothing counted. That belief kept me stuck longer than any deadline. I thought ignoring it would make it easier. That fallen sticky note on my desk wasn't just paper. It was a collapse of momentum. It showed me how far I had let the silence take over. The breaking point came on a Tuesday morning. I sat down, coffee steaming beside me, ready to finally tackle it. My planner lay open, every page scribbled and overrun. My desk is scattered with notes, my inbox pinging with reminders of what was still undone. One note slipped again, landing on the floor. I bent down to pick it up, but froze halfway. My chest tightened, my breath shallow. I muttered out loud, "I'll never get through this." That was my crisis cue. A simple piece of paper broke me open. Not because it mattered, but because I felt powerless against it. My body told the story before my words did. My jaw clenched so tight it ached. My shoulders hunched forward, pulling me into the desk like a prisoner chained to the mess. My fingers drummed restlessly, unable to land on a single task. And the worst part was the heaviness in my chest, a weight pressing in, whispering that starting didn't matter because I'd never finish. But in that lowest moment, something shifted. I realized I didn't need to conquer the entire mountain. I needed to move one stone. So I reached for the first reset method. Reset practice. One is micro movement. I picked up one stack of sticky notes, flipped through them, and threw half into the recycling. My hand trembled, but my shoulders loosened. That single act felt like air returning to my lungs. It wasn't everything, but it was something. And something felt alive. Reset practice 2 is journaling prompt. I opened my notebook and wrote, "What one task can I start now?" Just one. The words stared back at me, and for the first time in days, I answered, "Call back the client who's been waiting." That clarity was worth more than a spotless desk. Reset practice 3 is breath work. I leaned back in my chair, placed both hands on my stomach, and took 3 slow breaths. Inhale, hold, exhale. Each exhale carried out a fraction of the pressure, like letting air out of an overinflated balloon. By the third breath, my chest felt lighter. My jaw was unclenched. The clutter didn't disappear, but my panic did. And in that moment, I noticed the smallest shift. My desk didn't look like a trap anymore. It looked like an invitation to start again, one corner at a time. Notice what changed for you, I whispered to myself, even if just a little. After those breaths, something softened. The clutter didn't scream anymore. I looked at the same desk, the same mess, but it felt different. It felt manageable. I repeated the positive shift from this week's compass. Clearing space clears my mind. I said it again, slower. Clearing space clears my mind. That was the truth I had been missing. And here's the therapeutic beat that anchored me. Momentum begins in the smallest cleared space. That landed like water in dry soil. For years, I had treated clutter like an enemy to defeat in one battle. But the truth was, I only needed to clear one corner. And in clearing that corner, I cleared space inside myself. The sticky note that had haunted me on the floor, I picked it up, read it once, and then tossed it. That simple act became a symbolic moment. What once felt like collapse now felt like choice. And in that moment, I said aloud, one cleared corner gave me back momentum. Let's try this together. Wherever you are, look around your space. Don't try to fix everything. Just find one thing. One note, one paper, one item that doesn't need to stay. Pick it up, hold it, feel the weight in your hand, and then, if you can, let it go. Trash it, file it, move it aside. Notice how your shoulders feel after. Notice the tiny breath of relief that comes with one act of release. That's the practice. In business, you can do this with tasks. Choose one overdue call, one email draft, one file. Handle that single piece and let the momentum carry you. At home, it might be clearing one corner of the table or putting away one toy with your child. That single space cleared becomes a pocket of peace. And in the cultural layer, where discipline and tidiness feel tied to identity, remind yourself that worth isn't measured by spotless surfaces. Worth is measured by the courage to begin again, even small. Even one breath counts. Even one cleared item counts. I look at my desk now, and the clutter no longer feels like judgment. The piles aren't proof of failure. They're proof of a life in motion, of work unfolding. And the corner I cleared, it shines like a small victory. Every cleared space is a step forward. That truth carries me now. And I remind myself of the positive shift once more. Clearing space clears my mind. So tonight, I'll leave you with a gentle reflection. What is one corner in your space, in your mind, in your life that you could clear right now? Just one. For me, it started with a sticky note. For you, it might be something different, but the result is the same. Space returned, breath returned, self returned. And before I end, I want to say this. I'm grateful we shared this pause. Grateful that even in the middle of clutter and noise, we chose a moment to clear together. Because that moment matters. It matters more than the mess ever did.